further breakage can prevent bodily harm during repair by taping the glass. Lay overlapping strips of clear backing tape over the iPhone display until the whole face is covered. This will keep glass shards contained and provide structural integrity. Prying and lifting the display. Remove two 3.7mm Phillips number 00 screws from the dock connector end of the iPhone. Remove the metal handle from the suction cup. Easier and safer to grip the suction cup space instead of the metal handle. There's a rubber gasket between the silver frontal and black display assembly. A bit of force is required in this step to separate the iPhone's display assembly. It may help to rock the suction cup back and forth to remove the display assembly. Use a small suction cup near the home button to gently pull up the bottom port of the iPhone's display assembly. The display assembly is still connected to the iPhone by several cables, so don't try to remove it entirely just yet. Rotate the display assembly up until it's at an angle of approximately 5 degrees. The display assembly is too damaged to allow the suction cup to adhere. Tape with a strong adhesive such as duct tape and tape may be used. Continue to hold the assembly with one hand and your other hand to disconnect the black ribbon cable labeled 1. K1 is for display. All connectors except the ribbon connector mentioned in step 7 release upwards. Rotate the display assembly up until it is roughly vertical. This will allow easier access to disconnect the remaining cables. Use a spudger to disconnect the black ribbon cable labeled 2. Cable 2 is for the capacitive panel. Some iPhone may have the connector colors reverse: black plastic tab, white connector. For connector 3, make sure you're picking up the tab properly. Otherwise you may damage the connector. Insert SIM eject or paperclip the hole to the headphone jack. Press down on the tool until the SIM card tray pops out. Grasp the SIM card tray and slide out the iPhone. Use a spudger to disconnect the ribbon cable labeled 4. Use a spudger to disconnect the ribbon cable labeled 5 if you have an iPhone 3GS. Refer to second picture and use a spudger to disconnect the ribbon cable labeled 7. Be certain that the connectors on the ribbon cables are perfectly aligned with the sockets on the motherboard before applying pressure. This may require a magnifying glass. A jeweler's loop, 5.3mm for number 00 screws with partial threads securing the logic board to the rear case. 2.3mm Phillips 00 screws with full threads securing the logic board and camera. 2.9mm Phillips number 00 screw beneath the "Do Not Remove" sticker screw that goes next to the camera. Bottom right orange highlighted screw also has a metal spring that holds the camera in place. Use a spudger to gently pry the camera up and out in the rear case if the board won't lift up. Double check to make sure all the screws securing the logic board have been removed. Slide the logic board towards the dock connector and out of the iPhone. When replacing the logic board after installing battery, connect the camera to the logic board before inserting it into the case. Then make sure to set the section of the logic board where the SIM tray is in place before settling the rest of the board in place. This is important, as sometimes the SIM card slot will not align into place. Once the top section is in place, the bottom section can be maneuvered into place. You will know the logic board is correctly installed when the tray is aligned with the opening in the iPhone case and the camera module seats neatly into its place when replacing. Check the protrusion of the switch. There is a small plastic spacer adhered to the inside of button, which may come off with cleaning. Without a spacer, the button may not protrude enough to be depressed. If lost, it can be replaced with a suitable thickness of stiff plastic, e.g. shirt box lid. Carefully peel up the orange ribbon cable from the rear case. 3 1.8mm Phillips No. 00 screw securing the headphone jack and GPS antenna to the rear case. Note the order in which you remove the screws, as the left one has a slightly larger head. 3.8mm Phillips No. 00 screw in the plastic loop near the headphone jack. Remove the 4 Phillips No. 00 screws securing the on and mute switch.